Looks like it's that time again. It's Patreon. Let's draw without cow, so you better draw at the same time, otherwise I'm gonna eat a potato in your face and it's not gonna be pleasant time. I don't... Hi, hey there everyone, this is it's Sunday afternoon and my car's probably gonna need a new battery and that kinda sucks. How's it going? So, the art request today that I've taken, basically I made a draw. No puns intended. I kind of like, putting the hat, metaphorical digital hat. Basically, what one is demo versus boon. Be as creative as something. Now, just so y'all know, even if your request wasn't taken, doesn't mean it's completely out of the bucket. Like last time, people have been like making a re-request or something, but that's not necessary, as soon as, as long as it hasn't been done, it's still in the bracket, and it still might get done in the future, etc. Words are very difficult. Please not use words. Hey everyone, how's it going? Like, for legit, how is it going? At the time this is recorded, there's another extra thing that's gonna be posted on the Talk House at some point. A mystery project that explains why I'm kind of tired right now. That's okay. Technically, it's not a Patreon thing, but it's possible because of it. So, but it's still going to be available to everyone. But you'll see what it is once it's out there. It's kind of unrelated, and it involves people that are not me. First question the people asked about is, would you take a pill? It would dramatically and permanently increase your intelligence. Which led to, you should ask him if he's able to swallow pills. Which lead to, would you take a sublingual dose of dramatic and permanent intelligence increase? To which I answer, if there is no side effects, I'm not sure why I would say no to that. I mean, of course, with a greater understanding of the world tends to come more misery, Ignorance is bliss is a true thing, more or less. But however, there's more true, I don't know, like, there's a pure joy that comes with not knowing a thing sometimes. But I guess, like, in this case, like, I have to assume what it would mean. It wouldn't be like a gain of knowledge, but like you retain information better and whatnot. Like, like, it's not abstract, like, oh, suddenly you're, like, super math man, but, like, basically it's just your cognitive abilities are increased. If there are no monkey paw trickery to this, nor any, side effects, I don't see how I could refuse. Intelligence is probably one of the greatest things that can happen, if it could be more and more advanced. Then, I don't know if a whole lot would change in my daily life, though, that's the thing. But, I wouldn't need to make a grocery list. I could just go to the grocery store on my own, like a grown-up. Like, that's totally impossible. Also, since it's related, did you happen... Okay, that's, well, not related, but did you happen to enjoy the banjo or other rare games back in the day? If you played them, yes. I always thought that Banjo-Kazooie was super good. I always thought Banjo-Tooie was pretty great until I saw Iso's Let's Play of it, where I noticed that Banjo-Tooie didn't grow as well. The reason being, I believe, is that I think they went too far. The vast majority of the activities you do in that game basically amounts to going, there's barely any games anymore. You're just going back and forth a whole lot, to activate some kind of flag, and then you come back with a flag, then, once you get a power-up, you can hit a switch. There's a lot less platforming challenges, for one thing, because you're now so powerful. And also, yeah, basically you're just walking there and there, oh, okay, you can't activate this because... you don't have this one thing that just so happens to work kind of in an arbitrary... It didn't age well, but Banjo-Kazooie still does, I believe. I think so. Have you ever wanted to be the lead designer of a game that wasn't Asymptote or its sequel's derivative? Like, have you ever thought of a gameplay element or story that would be incredibly unique and interesting to play but don't have the experience to actually create and execute? Well, of course, as a kid, I was always designing them, like, sort of like weird video games, kind of like on paper. I think all video game nerds did that as a kid. It was, it's just a thing that happened. Like, we think it kind of just, like, happened in ourselves, but everyone did that. It was mostly, like, and I tend to be focused with platformers. The problem is, nowadays, like, I think I am content with what's going on with, the ASMTs and what I know, the Talkhouse things. If I have a super brilliant idea, honestly, with the advent of like what modern indie people are doing with platformers and whatnot, most of my ideas have had some form of analog that has been explored in some way, which I don't know if it speaks to my lack of actual originality or what. I will go ahead and say, although in terms of container, I tend to be fairly original. In terms of content, I tend to be extremely traditionalist. So, it's sad to say, but yeah, I'm content with what's going on nowadays, honestly. And even with that, I'll admit that most of it is also the work of other people. It isn't even really my own. I don't know how I feel about that, but that's kind of like it's turning out. And I'm fine with that, So not everyone is made to be a designer. I don't think I'd be good enough. Like, we all seen What the Hell, unfortunately. I'm actually a little surprised you used to play primarily rogues and Dunda, because you generally seem to favor a straightforward, aggressive style. Why is that? Or would you prefer a different style these days? I like straightforward approach myself, though I don't... Actually, if I were to play D&D now, I would probably play a cleric. The reason why I played Rogue back in the day isn't so much by choice, but it was to fill in a void. Like, it was an established group, and they had, this sort of, like, niche they had to go, and I was like, oh, okay, no, I want to join that, sure, and I played my little halfling rogue that was trying to, knock down doors with its tiny size and stuff, so I didn't play him very good as a rogue. Like, that's the thing that the text didn't say yesterday. I'm not saying I did a good job, but I wasn't very successful, because if I play now, I'd either be playing a cleric or something that can tank. That's always what I like. When I play MMOs sometimes, I usually play tank. When I play, that's what I like. I like to survive. And I know I don't need to kill the dude, but I like feeling like I did an important job, and there's nothing more important jobby than being the guy that gets hit on the head all day and survive and led to survival. I think that's pretty great. Also, I hope this one isn't too personal. You seem to have a certain preference for worst with a sort of feminine component, I guess. Like you're into Toho, Skullgirls, Kill la Kill, and so on. Demo and Iris are female, the protagonist of your webcomic is female, and so on. No, it's not because you're lusting after them or anything, so I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. Especially since it's something I notice in a lot of very cool artistic types, like Hayao Miyazaki, the author of Gunner Creek Court, and others. Obviously I can't speak for other people. I genuinely think that typically female characters just seem a lot more interesting to me. I can't really offer an explanation why. Like, it kind of goes deeper than that, if you want to really go deep about that. Most fighting games, I end up playing a female person. When I play an MMO, I'll typically make a lady avatar. And again, you're right, there's no lust there or anything. I just think that, in general, I just think that they make more interesting characters. It's a weird thing to say maybe, but I just feel like I just kind of I relate more in some way, which is silly because, I'm doing all that, but it's just, most male characters, they don't speak to me. I don't know how else to say this. Like this is, yeah, you're there, and and maybe it's because I don't like how coolness is portrayed in guy protagonist. I don't know. I do not have an explanation, but I have to admit that it is in fact a pattern that exists. Because yeah, the cast of ATXS and of Aracel, which is my current comic, both have basically a predominantly female character list. Like basically, it's the reverse of the normal male female ratio. And although that was more or less on purpose for ATXS, because we actually went on our way to give the character roles that usually go to dudes to ladies and the opposite around. With that said, it's not really on purpose though. It just that's just kind of happened. Me doing my thing again. I don't really have an excuse or an explanation, but I don't know. I just think ladies. Stories, they're just more interesting. I'd rather follow. I feel more like I want to follow their point of view, their adventure. I don't know. Okay, that's my answer. I don't know. What's your take on the Panzer Dragoon series? Have you watched? Okay, one, they're unrelated. Two, have you watched anything by Alejandro Jodorowsky, who was Mobius writer in Inca, and who hired later designed costume sets for his attempts at making Dune? Oh yeah, that's when I answered that Mobius was an influential artistic figure in me. Panzer Dragoon, I've seen a lot of stills and whatnot, but I never actually got a chance to actually play it, surprisingly. But I say surprisingly, but I just never really owned a console that has one of the games. Never owned a Saturn, never owned a whatever else, and modern games look super hella lame and dumb, so I'm not really super keen on playing them. So maybe I'm missing. I know I am missing out in the classic ones. But then again, aren't they basically Star Fox games, except you can turn the camera around? Honestly, I've never been really quite sure. But it's true, though, that the visual design for the dragons and I guess the dragoons, if you want to be picky about it, is super interesting, though. It's really well done. Like, it's really unique. Like, it's not how you usually picture a dragon to look like, which is what makes it really interesting. At the very least, visually and stylistically. For the other thing, the Mobius thing, though, I missed out on that. I heard about it, but I never heard about it at a time where it was convenient for me to further my research, and then it just kind of escaped my mind. Sorry about that. Have you read the Moomin books I sent you? Have you enjoyed it? Actual question, was your favorite comic book series and or graphic novel? Yes, I did read the Moomin book. Was actually familiar with their adventure and read some of their stories before. It's really charming. If any of you haven't read any Moomin before, try and find some scans or something online just to get yourself acquainted. It's really worth it. Super friendly, so like if you're the type who needs to, just read edgy stuff, you're gonna be disappointed, but anyone that's normal and not stupid, you should have a pretty good time, I think, using my professional opinion on, if people are enjoying things, they should probably enjoy it. It's very complicated science. What am I even saying at this point? In terms of comic series, I can't really say there's much. I will say, though, that I'm going to put a word out there for Doom Patrol during the Morrison era, because that is just some surreal nonsense. But it's really forward thinking, and also it's just that it's so psychedelic without going too far. And then you add in the fact that it's actually existing in the real DC universe, like Superman and whatnot. Sometimes it just makes it great. I think it's fantastic because of that. Like it forces weird, pretty abstract nonsense to exist in the real kind of thing. That's what I find hilarious and great. Otherwise, I read extremely little traditional comic books other than like what gets posted in a funny panel thread on something awful and stuff like that. I know a lot of the lore and the stuff, but that's mostly because of that, because of secondhand, contact. Not so much for the main thing. What is going on with Demo in this pose? That's really awkward. I guess she got hit, and see, that's her hit sparks. What even am I saying? Have you ever watched any awesome games done quick, summer games done quick, and are you aware that your name won the donation award with the file name of Bunny Must Die last summer games done quick? Yes, yes, and yes. The one that just happened, the awesome game done quick that just happened this January, is the first one that I really followed, although I did know of it and followed piecemeal here and there beforehand. And I was alerted after the fact about the whole Bunny Must Die thing, and I had responded in the talk house. I forgot what I said. It's probably something about how y'all are scary and crazy, because that is pretty much factual. Because I don't know, it's just a thing that happens. A game I played. What's too bad is that obviously no one knew what the name meant or whatever at the event. So it's like, it's like, feels kind of wasted because there's no reaction, neither positive or negative. But hey, it happened. It's all right. It's at least we got our thing, and then that means that we got because of me, we got some money sent towards the fighting of cancer, which I suppose is a good thing. I would argue, perhaps. Question. Where am I? Since we know that you have a 3DS, I'm wondering what is your favorite game on it. You're not gonna lie, I didn't play a whole lot, but Smash is probably up there. That new Zelda game with the 3D thing, whose name, Link Between Worlds, is really good. Like, add New Smurl, that's about all the games I've played on it, though. So, but they're all good games, but I haven't played enough to really be able to say I have a favorite. That's saying, well, in my life I ate. Whoa, what happened with the zoom there? Okay, how does what? Whoa, what? What's going on? Okay, now it's all weird. What did I press to that to happen? What? Now it's all stuck there. I guess I can get back through this way. That's weird though. Except, huh? How did that happen? That what can I Control Z here? Okay, let's not ask too many questions. Obviously, I am not to speak about the 3DS. Shh. Question: who is your Street Fighter character of choice? That's a pretty good question. Depending of choice, I really like Makoto, but she's not in a lot of games, which is an unfortunate fact. Sakura's pretty fun, honestly. I haven't really been big on Shoto clones, but she's different enough to be really interesting because she's has a lot more mobile option. But yeah, if I just gotta choose an absolute, Makoto's pretty cool. I like the fact that she has basically no magical gimmick at all to her, other than the fact that everyone flies basically when they jump. She's super realistic and magical fighting town. Except her, I guess her from the wall kick is kind of magical, but it doesn't stretch reality as much as everyone else, and I think that's super neat. She's kind of cool. She's kind of cool looking. She has hair, of course, her hair's short, and she has 2 eyes on her face. That's, I'm gonna admit it, it's pretty important. Do you follow the news often, either television, broadcast, paper, or news site, or anything like that? Do you prefer to dine out at a restaurant, pick takeout, or cook at home? Do you have any favorite restaurants? Don't really follow the news much, other than the radio sometimes. I'm gonna honest, this is kind of a bad thing on me, because I'm not always super aware of what's going on. Kinda depend on my roommate sometimes to figure out if the world is currently on fire or not. However, the answer tends to be, yeah, kinda anyways. It's like, who wants to hear about that, right? I would rather always eat at home, because restaurants, no, it's fun dining out. It's fun not having to eat your own food that you prepare. Sometimes I will, but I would normally rather take out and then eat at home. If I have a favorite restaurant, typically nowadays when I go out at the Boston Pizza. More often than not, I would rather eat the local restaurant though, and in my neck of the wood, Italian restaurant called Le Principal. I think it's pretty good, pretty darn good pizza there too. They have other things than pizza, but that's typically what we get. I'm giving a bad idea of what kind of food I'm eating here. Also, for some reason now the thing changed size and I can't reset. There we go. Always fun with that kind of thing. As the border of the records and the border of the page, sometimes it happens. It's unfortunate. Man, this is getting long. How would your dream house look like, and where would it be located? Man, this is weird. That's not really something I ever thought about. I don't know. Like, honestly, my dream house would basically be a somewhat larger apartment. I am not a picky person, man. Like, give me a good internet connection, a good, like, big, airy rooms with large windows, and the front porch, I'm happy. And I'd be super happy, like, maybe just a slightly less, like, more south a bit, where you still get climates, but you don't get the crazy cold winter, and I'll be super happy. So, like, north of the States, maybe, because I'm about as south as you can get in Canada, almost. Give or take a few hours. Yeah, like, I'm not a picky, demandy person, I think, is something y'all have noticed over time, maybe, perhaps, forevermore. Quoth the Raven. Question. Do you ever watch content on twitch.tv, e.g. speedrunners, art streams, casual play, salty bet? If so, what? Salty Bet is a great background thing, and I still keep it around, even though it has fallen from grace. This is kind of a harsh way to put it, but it's not nearly as popular as it used to be. It's still a great background like stuff image if you just need the occasional flashy screen to happen while you're doing something else. I think that's great for that. Recently, due to getting deeper into Hearthstone, sometimes I'll watch a stream or two, and I always feel real dirty when I do. A lot of streamers are bad people with bad language and opinions, which is really unfortunate. But there's some fun guys here and there, noxious, and not saying that just because we're the same nationality or anything. How do you feel about camp sci-fi? That's, say, Doctor Who, Star, Correct Toss, and you can. Well, that's fun. It's not as interesting in a sense than real sci-fi, but at the same time, it's because it's not trying to do the same thing. Hard sci-fi is trying to explore very specific things and state of the human nature, whereas camp fi is really more about entertainment, and there's nothing wrong about creating entertainment as long as you don't think you're doing more than what you're doing. It's totally fine. Like, I wouldn't judge a piece of work because it's a star opera. I'm going to judge its worth by what it's trying to do, and if it's successful to do it, and if it's something that interests me. Like, labels, I understand why they exist. They're still kind of lame. What's your favorite color? Green! Wow, a short one. Where will the madness end? Never. By the way, do you do all these drawings with a mouse or have a drawing tablet thingamajigs? I'm using a drawing tablet thingamajig. In fact, it's like super lower-end bamboo Wacom tablet. It's about as low end as you can get. That's what I use. Don't really need much more than that for my purposes right now, and I wouldn't really have the space for something bigger than that, honestly. I'm just making dots now. It's textures. It's important. If you were stranded and starving on a remote island, you noticed a beach whale on the shore. Will you push it back into the water so it doesn't collapse under its own weight, or you consume it hoping it will give you more time to possibly be rescued? I doubt I would be strong enough to push a whale on my own. Honestly, depending on how long I've been there, if I'm starving, like, I wouldn't... Ask me now, I would never be able to kill an animal, but once I'm starved enough, that's not gonna be true no more. Let's be honest here. Let's be realistic. But yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, like, I don't think I'd be able to, like, would I invent a series of pulley and wheels with logs just to push a whale? By the time I'm done, it would probably, like, be dead. So, you know, I don't know, man, but, you know, it's a whale's fault for going ahead and getting itself beached. Dang it. That's, okay, there we go. I am now completely morally without fault. How much experience do you have with the Sega side of things from the 16-bit era? Yes. What does that even mean? When I was a kid, basically I was lucky. I was the guy with Super Nintendo, and my next-door neighbor, with whom I was friends, was the guy with the Genesis. So basically, you know, and we weren't fighting about that. Basically, we were making the most of it. Basically, we both got a hearty culture of both sides. So best of both worlds, basically, and that's how it happened. The end. I was wondering which program they used for these Patreon videos. Record with Camtasia as usual, and the art itself is drawn through a program called Open Canvas. Probably should update my version. I think it's handy. It goes really well to do little, like, sketch type things, and they're little sketch type things. I think they look alright, but it's not like just things you can't do with this. But you know, you're just gonna do a quick thing. Thing's fun. Holy cow! This is almost half an hour.